to turn on and we'll be good to go. Yeah, I decided to bump everything back a week because I really want to focus on the, sorry, I'm doing too many things at once here. I really want to focus on the organization stuff because I think that's incredibly important. In order for us to do anything that's editing related, I need to make sure that we can organize our stuff, because otherwise it's going to be mass confusion later on and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I hate this software. So I bumped everything back. You'll see that the slideshow assignment will come out. I didn't take it out of the grade book yet, but I took it out of the calendar for the class. But the slideshow assignment will come out. It's one of those that they've actually kind of dumbed down what you can do with slideshows in there, that it almost doesn't warrant for it to be a separate thing anyway, because it's very easy to go in and show you, select a group of photos, here's how you can create a slideshow and save it. And that's really the extent of our conversation. So we can fit that in anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be a separate assignment, but that gives us the extra time for talking about that organization piece, because I really, really, really don't want to go forward until we've got that. So that's why we're going to do that. The one bonus for you guys is when we do the group project, you get an extra week because now it falls over spring break. And I've always wanted that project to be an extra week anyway. I just could never find it in the calendar. So it works out so well. So yeah, so you guys will have, and the due dates in Blackboard, I did not get to them. I started it this morning and I didn't get very far. So you'll see the due dates are still a week off. I will go back in and I will fix those though. But the, where is it? Yeah, between week 7 and 8 when we have spring break, your project will be presented when we get back. And that's kind of a nice thing because the college is open that whole time, and then you've got that extra time to complete and put everything together. So it works out really well. I like it. But that's our plan. So we're just going to continue with the same chapters that we were working on before. But first, one thing we have to do is we have to get your import assignment, and we need to export your import assignment. That sounds so weird. Now we need to be able to get your project onto the server so that I can grade it. So I said I would walk through that at the beginning of class so that you could see, and if we had any errors, we could correct those errors. I do have a document that's in Blackboard for you guys, as I backed all the way out, that does have the step-by-step for doing it. So at any point, you can always reflect back to this document. It is, let me turn this off so you don't see a bunch of extra stuff. It's right in class materials, so it's not inside of a folder. It's right in class materials, and it will walk you through that whole process and making sure that you have the right things checked. That's the key, is to make sure you have the right things checked. Without having it checked, I only get a portion of the catalog and then it won't open. And then I can't see anything, or if it does open, there's no images. And that's usually the one thing that students forget, is to export it so that the images are included, especially when we get to the editing. I can't grade a single thing when we get to editing if there aren't images. So let's go through that process first. Does everyone have their catalog with their assignment in it? Hopefully, yes. I'm going to grab one with, and grab a catalog with some stuff in it so I can do it along with you. Okay, so the big thing will be to open your catalog. And if you remember from the last week or two when we talked about opening your catalog, if it's on your hard drive, it's probably easiest to go right into the folder that you created for your Lightroom catalog, and then double click that LRCat file, whatever it's titled, and then it will open right to your catalog. So you don't have to go search for anything. So that's going to be the first step, is to get it open. And then we got to do a couple things here. Sorry, I'm stuffing my face. I just took more medicine, and if I don't eat something, I'm going to feel nauseous once it starts kicking in. So I woke up with vertigo this morning, but not bad enough that I couldn't get out of bed, but just bad enough that if I turn too fast, it's a little thing spin. So I kind of like where I'm sitting right now. There, get into grid view. Okay. So if you want to export your catalog for an assignment, now this process is a little weird. Know that you don't do this a whole lot, but because of what we do in here and getting it onto the server, we're going to have to do this with each of your projects. When you use Lightroom on your own, you're probably not going to export a whole lot of projects. You might every once in a while, maybe for archiving or something like that. But to do an individual, like if you work with somebody or for somebody, and to do just a small little export of one session or whatever it is, you probably don't do that a whole lot. But I don't need you to dump your entire catalog as you start adding more and more to it throughout the semester. I don't need the entire catalog. It's going to take you forever to copy it to the server, and you're going to be annoyed. So this is why we're going to export just the parts that we need. So basically all we're doing is we're taking certain things that we have put into the catalog, and we're going to, it's not going to pull it out and take it away. It's just going to pull it out kind of as a copy and be separate. So it's still as a whole in here. Everything's still going to be in this catalog that I'm using as an example. It's just that I'm making a backup copy with all of the organization, with any edits and stuff that I've done to it. All of that stuff just kind of comes with it and just makes it easy to, if you do have to share it with somebody, maybe you're working hand in hand on a session. When you do your group project, you'll have to do the same process, but we're going to use it definitely just for turning in exactly what we need. So what you want to do, another reason to have everything organized in a collection and not have it just all 14,000 photos here in a catalog. One reason not to do that is because then it's easier to save out. Because if we were to take your import collection, and I'm just going to take two small things here. If you were to take your import collection and the images and stuff that are in them and export them, everything stays exactly where it is and organized how you did it. So what we do is you'll have your import collection, and you'll probably have your 5 picks as another collection that's in there. So what you want to do is click on your import collection and then command click on the pick collection that you've created. So anything you need to export, just command click each one of those. You'll see it just keeps adding the photos if they're different. It just keeps adding to it so you see all of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under the File menu, and I'm going to go to Export as Catalog. Not export, because that's exporting images, and that's another conversation a few weeks down the line. This is exporting as a catalog, so it keeps all your organization. So the big thing is we have to make sure it's going to take a catalog, it's going to make a new one with just this information and images, and it's going to copy the pictures over so that if we are moving this from computer to computer, the pictures come with it. That's the important part. Now, it's just like any other Save As window. We just have to give it a title. And with all of your assignments, we do that naming structure that we had talked about, where we do last name, first letter of your first name, and then whatever the assignment is. So I might just call this one import. Oops, not importy. Import. Obviously, choosing a spot for it to go is going to be the next big thing. I would not save it directly to the server. I find sometimes it stalls and it errors out. I would save it somewhere else first, whether it's just the desktop temporarily and then trash it once you get it on the server, or your external hard drive, whatever you want to do. Don't go directly to the server. Now, if those that have to do this at home, you're going to go through this same process, but there's one more step I'll show you when we're done. So once you name it and stuff, now we have to look at what's down here and what's checked. So the important thing here is to look to see how many images is exporting. If it says 1, we have a problem because it's probably checked to say export selected photos only. And if you forgot to select everything aside from the collection, it'll only do 1 picture. That's no good. So I usually leave that unchecked and then just make sure that this number matches. I'm exporting 2 collections with 8 images each, so I know this is good. So I know I have 16 photos. And then of course, the only way it will export the pictures is if I have that second one checked, which by default it is, so don't change it. It says export negative files. So I would leave all the defaults, and then whether or not this first option is checked will depend on if you did or didn't select anything. But just make sure whatever it says here is the number of photos it's supposed to have. Then you can hit export catalog. And after the menu goes away here, just watch the progress bar across the top left, and that will tell you when it is actually all done, because you don't want to close Lightroom while it's working. It should yell at you, but it would stop in the middle. So it will take a second because it is actually creating a whole nother catalog, but just with those images. And then it's pulling those images into this, it's mimicking the folder structure of where those images live now. And then everything's going to be in one happy folder. So you just copy the one folder to the server and you're good. Yay, mine's done. Let me minimize all this other stuff. So I have, here we go. So now I have my folder. I always double check just out of sheer paranoia. I go inside here and you're gonna see your Lightroom catalog. The other thing too is just make sure you never submit just a Lightroom catalog because these preview files are important, and then of course the images that are attached to them. So it took just those 16 images. It created the same folder structure of how I had it wherever it's referencing, and then it just made a copy of everything in here. So now if I just open up this catalog, I will see just those 16 images with the folder structure, and I'll show you what it looks like. You don't have to do this, but I'll show you what it looks like at least. So I exported 2 different collections, and now when I go in here, I see inside here that it exported, these images are in a couple spots, so it, wherever they were, it created it. But inside here, I have my collage one that I exported and my maybe one that I exported. So they're all there. It brought forth the folder structure because those images live inside those 2 folders too. So it might bring extra, and that's okay, but as long as you have the ones you need, anything extra is just bonus. So that's what it will look like then, everything you copied over. I'm gonna switch back. So then all you have to do, I'm just gonna switch this back so I don't have to do it later. Come on, minimize. What are you doing? I said minimize. There we go. So then all you have to do is log into the server and copy it there. And I know not everyone has logged into the server yet. So if you have not, now I did write it in on the board for my first class, so it's still up there if you need that information to write down and remember later. But what we do now is we go to the server from the Finder window. We have to connect to the one that's only on campus, and then we're going to copy it in that folder. As we start doing that here, those that do this online, what you have to do as your last step, if you're sending it to me, is you need to And it's a little different on a PC, but basically you're going to zip the folder together so that you can drop it on a cloud drive and then I can download it. So on the Mac side, it says compress. On the PC side, I believe it says like zip archive or archive. And then when you click that, it will compress it down. It's going to create the zip folder. And then you can take that zip folder once it's done, and that's what you can upload to the cloud. It's going to be a smaller file size because it's compressing it. So it should go a bit quicker, but depending on how many pictures you have, it may still be a larger file, but at least it'll be a lot smaller.
How did you do that?
The zip?
Yeah.
I just right-click the folder and I hit compress. So really you don't have to worry about that unless you're not here and you have to send it to me, because we have like 3 people that do it. They have to listen to the recording to do it. So if you're in person taking the class, you don't have to worry. We'll just drop your folder on the server. But if you're doing it online, zipping it, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to transfer the files. And you can stick any screenshots if you're here or there, wherever you are. You can dump your screenshots in that same folder if you wanted to. It's not a problem to add that in there. And that way everything's in the same folder for the server. So you only have 1 screenshot for this assignment because that was the import window. That's the only one that needs to go with. But feel free to throw it right inside that folder and you're good. So as soon as this is done, it'll make it easier to connect. Now, with any application you're in, if you're not used to using a Mac and you're trying to connect to the server, and I know on the side TVs you can't see it. The front TV shows the menu items across the top. But the top left corner will tell you what application you're in. Mine says Finder right now because I have clicked on it. So if you close a window, you might still be in that application. To get to the server, we need to go to the Finder menu first. So you can either just click on the desktop somewhere or the little smiley face icon in the dock. And then it should say in that upper left corner Finder. And then you're going to have the Go menu. And that's what we need to connect to the server. So we're going to go connect to server. And then if you have not connected to the server before, it'll probably be blank, but you only need to type in this gbx serve without the E at the end and 2. Then you hit connect. It'll fill in the rest of it, so you don't have to worry about it. Then you hit connect. And once it connects, it's going to ask for the login. Your number will show up, but you need to delete that. And you'll have this in other classes with other instructors like Photoshop or other photography classes too, depending on your instructor. They will all have a different login. So all you have to do is make sure to write down what their logins are, but we all use GBX Serve too, so that part's easy. But it's JN Photo from my server. And then my password's the weirdest of them all. It's access with a capital A. So I did write it on the board. It's up there. So JN Photo, access capital A, and then you hit connect. And yell if it's not working. Every once in a while our computers act weird. Never be afraid to yell out your question when it happens. It's better than waiting. Then all you have to do is make sure my name is selected. It comes up with a list of all the instructors that use the server space, and just make sure my name's selected and hit OK, and then it will connect. The way I have my server organized as I'm waiting here, oh my gosh, why? GBX Serve 2. As I say, sometimes we have problems, then mine has a problem. If I can get this far, there should be no issues connecting. There it goes. So basically at this point, our server acts as a hard drive. It's just networked and connected to every computer here on campus. So it will show up as a hard drive with my name on it and little people holding hands, I guess. because it's sharing. I should have pictures of people coughing on each other because we tend to share germs more. So then the way I organize mine is I have a folder for every class, and then inside there I put a folder for every assignment. So you'll see one for workflow. It'll be the bottom one always. Make it easier to find, I guess. And then you'll see the assignments. So I'm a little weird. I date them and then the name of the assignment by its due date so that it goes in order rather than just the name, because then everything gets out of order and then people don't know what to go to next. So you'll see one that says 220 import org, and then you can just dump that folder in there and you are set. But that's all you have to do. That process will get easier every time, I promise. So we'll walk through the export catalog a couple times as we do it, the first few assignments, and then you'll have the hang of it. But if it ever doesn't work, just let me know. We'll make it work. And if you do ever have to miss class, you can always zip me the file too, because you won't be able to connect to the server from home. But any Mac computer you will have the ability to connect to. So even if you know you're not going to be here or something, you can run in the atrium and drop it on the server before or whenever you're here before the class. You can always drop it on there. Okay. Not too bad. We survived that. Anyone have any problems or questions? File export as catalog. That's the key, and make sure it's the number of images. All right. Yay. Oh wait, let's see if there's any confusion with where we're at as far as organizing stuff. We've only talked as far as a collection, but I wanted to see if anyone had questions, maybe even problems on the assignment that it would warrant to go through certain things again before we talk more about organizing. Because I have some pretty sweet organization. I like organization. My house tells you otherwise, but I swear I love organization. Okay. Nope. Sorry. Didn't mean to slam that next to the microphone. All right. So let me get something. Is this? Can't remember his name. All my images are connected. Shoot, I'm gonna have to pick something where I know I have a handful of images. Baseball Hunter. There we go. Okay. Let's do this. So there are a few things within that chapter that we haven't gotten to yet. Again, hence why we're pushing that stuff back. But I'm going to give you as many references in the book as I can. So we talked about renaming and importing and doing the basic collection and stuff like that. But one thing we haven't talked about yet is some of the other organization and filtering. And we barely dove into the keywords last week. So my goal is to cover all of that, and then we'll be completely caught up, which is awesome. So once we import, like I imported these 200 some photos to Lightroom from my SD card. I went through and I renamed them right away. I can't see the renaming here, which I'm going to show you how to change that in a second here. I went through and I renamed them. I've actually gotten to the point where I've already gone through the images and I've rejected and I've made my picks and stuff like that. It's already been uploaded. The client looks at them, and now I'm just going to another level where maybe I want to organize to a deeper level, or once somebody orders something or whatever it is you're doing with your photography, you want to organize it just a little bit further. Obviously you can just keep creating as many collections as you want. You have the ability, as you can see by my ridiculous number of collections here. Let me try and collapse some of these. You have the ability to add collections on the fly. Now here's the thing about the collection. If I have an image in one collection and in another, it's not a duplicate copy. It still only exists once. It's just an organization piece. So it's just saying, just show that image when I click on this collection. It's not saying I have 2 copies of it. It just happens to live within those 2 spots for an organization purposes. It still is one. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what it is. Okay, so anytime you want to add a collection, on the left-hand side where we see all of our collections is the little flyout menu, and you see Create Collection as the top option. So it's the same process like the import window, except for it pops up here. We have a couple extra options, but we'll talk a little bit about that as we get further. Some we're going to skip now and talk about later. But you basically just give it a title and hit Create. I'm going to come back to this collection set thing in a little bit, but I'm not going to get there yet. So, for example, okay, and you might hate me for showing you this now, after you did your import assignment, because you probably took your picks and then one by one clicked them and then created another collection, or created a collection and then one by one drag them into your collection. There's actually a faster way of doing it. Of course there is. And I want to show you how you can filter to get to those picks a lot faster. So it's just a quick select them all, create a new collection. So I have my picks, I have my rejects, and I want to take my favorite images, which are my picks, and I want to put them in a separate collection, maybe to edit, whatever it is that I want to do. I can, at the top of my window, above my, I'm in grid view in the library, and I have text, attribute, metadata, and none. This is the filter menu up here. So I could click on attribute, and you'll see a whole bunch of different things that you probably tied to your image. Your flags, colors, star ratings. I can filter to just the images that have certain information. So mine right now has a bunch of stuff clicked, so I'm going to uncheck everything here. So it's probably going to show everything to start with, unless you've created a filter before. It will remember the last one you used. So when you first start, though, it has nothing. But let's say I just want my picks. I click my flag, and look at that. My collection, don't let this freak you out. My collection contains all of the images, but it's temporarily hiding everything that doesn't meet the search criteria. In this case, my pick, my flag. So now I can make life easier, and I can select all. I can click all these photos and very quickly create a new collection. So if you had to do a lot of scrolling to select your picks to make a new one, I'm sorry, but I ran out of time to show you last week. So this will make life a little bit easier. So now I can select these. I can go collection, create collection, and then I'm going to call it Davis Hunter Picks. And then the only thing in here that I really want to pay attention to is that it says include selected photos, so that the ones I have selected, it puts in there. That's the only one I'm worried about at this point. I hit create, and then bam. I still have my, I'm going to set this back to none. I still have my collection with 256 pictures, but now I've singled out just the 14. Make it a little bit easier. It's Fred. But there's an even easier way too. I would assume you guys like even easier. The easier we can make things, the better. Has anyone played or accidentally used the Smart Collection yet? Have you? You've been using Lightroom for a while too, though. Does anyone have any inkling on what the Smart Collection is? I'm going to try and find my page for you. I can't remember what page it's on because it's across 2 different chapters. Smart Collection 50 and 51. Passed it.
Just like the computer kept like thinking through the collection for you, and like, I think you want this collection, maybe
It does. Your computer is what's smart. So you tell the computer what you want it to do, and it just says, oh, this matches, and it sticks it in there. I love smart collections. I had a part-time instructor who said, I've never used smart collections. I don't really get the purpose of them. And then we kind of walked through it one day because we were talking about a project and a workflow thing. And I'm like, well, just do this. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's why we use smart collections. And now she uses them all the time. So I'd like to say that I've convinced her. But a smart collection is awesome because you set the criteria. So I could say, take all my pictures that are a pic that were taken last week and stick them in a collection. And then it's what we call dynamic, where we don't have to do anything. It just puts it in there automatically and we're set. So I want to show you how to create that because you have to make sure you set everything right. If you don't set it right, you just change it and then it fixes it for you. You don't have to delete it. You don't have to undo anything. You can say, oh, oops, I probably should have been more specific. Add more specifics as far as what it's pulling, and then it just fixes itself. So I love this. Okay, I mentioned last week how I don't like star ratings. That's me. But I found a use for them, and it involves needing a smart collection. So I'm going to show you how to create it first. I don't know, do I have color coding on here? No. Okay, I'm going to pick a different one so I can show you how to do multiple criteria on it. Let's do the family because there we go. Okay, so I have a folder of 100 some images. I have my pics, I have my rejects, and then she came through, she ordered pictures. I tagged some of them so I knew what images I needed to put together to do this wall collage. So I color coded them red. And now I just want to auto separate some of these so that I'm not looking for every single 5-star. I could go under attribute and say, uncheck my flags here and say, show me all the images with red. Or I could say, show me all the 3-star images, which it will do anything that's rated a 3, 4, and 5, because it's always that number or higher. So it will show me all of those. But let's say I just want a folder for all my 3-star images, just those. Separate them from everything else. I'm going to take away this rating, go back here. All I do is I'm going to create a new smart collection, which is the second option. And the pop-up window is different because now I have to say, what images do I want to pull into this folder? And then Lightroom will do the rest. So I'm going to, in this case, I'm just going to do the 3-star. So I, just by habit, I'm just naming it the same as the family. So I know it has to do with them. 3-star. So I'm just going to call it that. Uncheck this. No, I'll check it for the moment. Then down below here is what I need to pay attention to. So do I want it to have a star rating? Yes. I said I wanted just the 3 stars. So by default, it brings up rating, but you can change this to anything. So I have rating, I have flagged pics, smart previews. I mean, you can put the most ridiculous stuff. You can do metadata down to a lens if I wanted to. So I could create a smart collection of every picture I've taken with my 50mm lens, and makes it easy to find an example if I need to. So you can make it the most ridiculous setting if you want to. Try anything. In this case, I am doing a 3-star, so I'm just going to leave it at rating. And then I'm going to click the 3 for the 3 stars. But then I need to pay attention here, because right now it says is greater than or equal to, which means it's going to pull the 3, 4, and 5 stars. But I want 3-star only. So you can click on that drop down also and then choose something else. So I want it to be is 3 stars because I only want 3 stars. I don't want anything else, just those. You can exclude it and do is not, but that's weird to me. Some of these I'm like, why would someone go, I'm going to do that? I've never understood some of them. So I want ratings is set to 3 stars. Okay, so I'm going to hit create right now and see what happens. Cool thing about smart collections, you can always just hit create and then go back and tweak it later. So I'm going to hit create. And now it did create a folder with only 3-star rated images. However, that's Oliver, that's Lindsay. Like, this is not just the family. I want it to be just the family. So, does anyone have any idea what I could do to make it narrow down to just the family? I've got the 3-star, I'm good there. But I only want the 3-star for that family. I could do color. Some of them do have a color attached to it. Oh, actually my 3 stars don't have a color, only the 5 stars do. The thing with the smart collection is that it populates it by itself. So what I want it to say is that I just want this family. I don't want all the other sessions. It's taken what it did, because I only set one parameter. It's taken every 3-star image in my entire catalog. So I need to narrow it down. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to play until I find something that works. So you can go back in at any time. All you have to do is double click the catalog icon. So I'm going to double click this little gear here and it will bring it back up. And now I can go further. So this is good, but I need more. So there's a little plus sign. Boop. If I hit the plus sign on the right, it just keeps adding another piece of criteria. So now I'm going to think about how I've organized my stuff. So I have it in a collection. I could probably say only 3-star images that are from that collection. So I could go to collection right here under source. And I could say contains, and then I have to type the name of the collection. That's the one thing I don't like. I would have to type the name of the collection, and then anything that fits within that name, bless you, it will pull. So that would probably work. It should work, actually. Yep, there it is. So now I'm down to the 8 pictures. So that definitely works. There are other things I could have done. If I had keywords that were specific, I could have used those. But I could also, I renamed my files when I imported. So I could go based on file name, because I could see collection being problematic in the future. When they come in for the newborn pictures of baby number 4, I'm going to have another session with their name on it. So I might want to use the file name, because the family has one file name. The newborn will have a different file name. It'll be the same last name, but the first letter of the first name will be different. So I could do file name instead, and then just make it more specific to that session. It's going to give me the same result, but at least if I add more stuff later on, it won't add more images. And here's what's really cool. Now if I go through pictures, and I'm not going to screw this up totally because I have to finish their order. And if I look at another image and I say, okay, that one goes in the 3-star, once I click 3-star, it recognizes that as matching criteria, and you can see my collection just went from 8 to 9. So it's automatically doing it for you. You don't have to do anything. It's awesome. I'm going to take this away though. I have to order their proof book yet, and if I screw that up, my numbering will be messed up. Oh, goodness. Although I think it is messed up already. Oh, well. I'll figure it out. So that's how you work with smart collections. Love them, because you can change them at any time. Deleting them is not like anything's lost, because it was stuff your computer did for you. It's easier to recreate smart collections. So I'm just going to get rid of this one because I actually have one. I called it the maybes. So you'll find uses for them. There's, I don't think it's in this catalog, or is it? No, because it would be at the top. It's a smart collection. Smart collections always go right up at the top. So the way Lightroom organizes everything in here is it does a collection set first, which I will explain that next. It always puts all the collection sets at the top, the smart collections following that, and then your regular collections the rest of the way. So if you have a smart collection, it's going to fall toward the top. From there, it alphabetizes everything. So it alphabetizes all the collections, and then it alphabetizes just the smart collections, and then the collection sets, and so on. So that's how it does it. So if you're looking for it, because that threw me off for a little while, where I was looking down here, I was going alphabetically, and I'm looking for my portfolio and my smart collection, not this one, and I couldn't find it, and that's because it's up here. So now Lightroom does have some collections pre-built in there. So you'll see there's one called Smart Collection. I'm not entirely sure why, but that's in there. But you should have a collection set in there that has smart collections that are kind of pre-built in here already. So things that go in the past month. So it auto updates this. This is what's really cool. So anything I've taken in the last month will show up in here automatically because it resets the date every time I log in. It puts in the new date and then it backtracks 30 or 31 days. It's kind of neat. 5 stars, so on. It does everything. It does make it easier, but I find it easier just to create my own because I have specific things I want to do. Okay, let me get back to images because I'm missing some. There we go. So that's not so bad. Smart collections are easy. It's just making sure you set the criteria right, and when it's wrong, you just play with it till it's good, and then you're fine. Okay, collection set. That's even easier, in all honesty. It's like another folder. That's it. It is essentially think of it as a folder or a box that holds multiple collections. And then you got it. That's all it is. It's seriously all it is. So and the icon is one of those old school boxes that you could put your pictures in, the photo boxes. That's what the icon is. So it kind of makes sense. So it looks like a little box. That's what that is. And then you can put multiple collections inside there if you want to. So I can create a collection, and I'll show you just an example of what happens just for me as part of my workflow. Whether it helps you or not, at least you understand kind of how it works. I create a collection set when somebody comes in to order pictures. So next week, Hunter is coming for pictures. So I will create a set for Hunter. I'm going to uncheck this. No, I want a set. I don't have a set for Hunter. Ugh. There we go. I'll just call it set. The only downfall is you can't create a collection set and a collection with the same name, even though they're two different things. That kind of makes me mad. Because if they're different things, why does it matter? But okay, well, I'll call it Hunter set. Okay. So I created a collection set right here. I have a box. Now I can organize my pictures into that box. So I can grab my collection with Hunter's pictures and drag them up to, come on, go further, up to this set and drop it inside there. And now inside that set is Hunter's collection. So I have that in there. Now, actually, I probably shouldn't call it Hunter set because, let's rename this really quick. I'm just going to call it Davis 2018 because she's not ordering just Hunter's, she's ordering the other 3 children's pictures too. So I'm going to put them all in that set to make it easier. So now we got all 4 kids in one. So when she comes to order, I can go back and forth between the senior photos and just the rest of the kids and get them all set. But When they come in order, we go through, we play a slideshow, they look at the pictures, and then we go through one by one and say, I like it, I don't like it, yes, no, maybe. All they say is yes, no, maybe. So when they say yes, I attach a 5-star to it. When they say maybe, I attach a 3-star to it. If they say no, I just skip it and go to the next one. And that way, we can narrow it down to their favorites and then look at their favorites and narrow it down even further and then pull in the maybes wherever we need to. So I'm going to create a few more collections in here, and I'm going to create a smart collection because this is what makes the rest go faster. I'm going to be so happy to have this done before she comes because usually I wait till right before she walks in the door. So I'm going to call it Davis maybe, and that's going to be the 3-star ratings with the file name contains Davis. Now I have a lot of Davis photos in here, so I'm wondering, we'll see what that does. I don't think I have anything for the other ones. Okay. And then I'm going to create another smart collection inside that set, and that one's for the yes. So I'm going to call this one Davis yes. I'm going to put it inside this collection set. That's the only time I want that box checked because it's going inside there. Then I don't have to move it later. My rating this time is going to be a 5-star, and it's going to have the same file naming structure. So hit OK. And why is that going in there? See, this is what I thought I would run into. Yep, these are pictures from 2016 because we do their pictures every year. Okay, so I'm going to have to narrow in a little bit more with this. In this case, I'm going to create another one, and it's going to be by date. Capture date is after, I'm just going to do 2018 because we only do it once a year. And I'm probably going to have to add the same thing to this one eventually, so I might as well do that now too. And then I'm set. So I'm going to add the date in there, and now I'm fine. Capture date is after. There we go. January of 18. There. Now we're set. So they're set at 0, but now when she comes in and she starts going through and it's like, yes, no, maybe, yes, no, maybe. You know, if this is the yes, it'll go 5-star, and then it gets put into my yes. So now my collection set's ready to go, and it's all in one spot, and I can organize and flip back and forth. If it wasn't in a set, my smart collections would be up toward the top here, and then everything else would fall down toward the bottom. So I'd be scrolling back and forth. This way they're all right there. Yay. And as we do stuff like the print module and the book and all of that, we can put all of that into the set too so that any books we create are put together. It's awesome. That's what a set is. That's all. It's slick. It works. Okay, getting organized. I want to make sure there's one more thing from chapter 2 that I want to make sure I point out and give you guys that page number. I bet, because a few people asked me, all of you got the little prompt when you quit. There it is. All of you got the prompt when you quit. Do you want to back up? Do you want to back up? Yes. It's like an absolute, like no hesitation yelling yes is what we should do. I'm not going to do it now for the sake of all of our heads. But yes, we do. We need to back up. Here's what happens sometimes. Your catalog corrupts. And then what? Or your hard drive crashes and your catalog is on there. You are stuck and you have to start all over. So any edits that you've done, hopefully you have your images on other hard drives, but any edits that you've done, gone. You have to start all over. It's the worst. I've been there. You want to cry for days and not get out of bed, just thinking of all the work you have to redo, or images that are permanently gone. So let's talk about backing up so that we actually do it. And he even says, this is very, in all caps, important. So if you need a book reference, it starts on 74 in chapter 2. So you may want to like dog-ear that page or write that down in case you need it later on. But backing up is extremely important. Now, I did learn something. By default, it tries to back up to the same location, and I hope I'm not wrong in saying this, but this has been my experience. Anytime I choose where it backs up, it defaults to wherever my catalog is. So if it defaults to my hard drive, and I have my catalog and my hard drives and my backups on the hard drive, and the hard drive crashes, I am no better off than if I didn't back up at all. So what we have to do is choose the location and make sure it's a different spot. If you're working on Lightroom at home and it's on your hard drive of your computer, put the backup on something else. Because if your computer crashes, everything is gone. So that's why I cannot stress that enough. Make sure you choose. It's obviously important just to back up in general, and how often is up to you, but the location is almost more important than how often. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, it will pop up by default when you quit, because right now I believe it is set to once a week is the default. I might be lying to you. It's either once a day or once a week. I can never remember which one it is because I change mine. So I can tell you what mine is. But if we... Oh, now I gotta remember if it's in preferences or catalog settings. I always forget. There it is. But it's not asking me where. This is what frustrates me. You almost have to set it when you quit, because in the catalog settings, it only asks how often. It doesn't ask where you want it to back up, but it asks you that when you go to quit. This annoys me. So you can set up how often in your catalog settings. So that falls under the Lightroom menu at the top and under catalog settings. And there you can choose. So you can set it to never back up, but I really, really don't recommend that one. Once a month is not often enough, because if you think about how much editing you do in a month, you'd have to redo a month's worth of work. Once a week is probably okay for a lot of you. Otherwise, once a day is what I would recommend. It's completely unnecessary to do it every time you close Lightroom. Unless you've done something major, then maybe yes, do it in that instance. But I think every time you do it, if you sit down twice a day and work on it, that's just more file space. I'll show you what it does, but it's just more file space that you're creating, and it's just not necessary. Once a day seems good. I can see maybe redoing a couple hours of work. I'd still cry over it, but so that's where you would change it. But when you actually quit Lightroom, please ask me. Okay, thank you. It's the one time it's not going to. Okay, when you quit Lightroom, this is what will come up. So it's just prompting you saying, you haven't backed up in the last day, which is what mine's set to. Do you want to do it right now? And sometimes I'm like, well, I'm just going to come back to it. Maybe I'm just driving home and then I'm going to open it back up. Meh, I might not. So I can choose to skip it until the next day. But this is what we have to pay attention to, and I don't understand why this isn't in the preference menu, catalog settings. Backup folder. So right now, it's backing up to the hard drive that it's on, which is stupid. So I need to change that. This is where I would hit choose, and I would find a different location. So oddly enough, when I have this connected to my computer at home, it asks to back up. It has recognized where I've told it to back up on that computer, and it asks to back up to the computer. So my backup is on my hard drive of my home computer. My catalog is on this little black external drive right here. So they're in two different locations. So I can choose a different spot. It might default to the picture folder. there's a good chance it would do that for you. And if your catalog is on your hard drive, you might want to leave it there. It would be fine there. But you could pick anywhere you want, and it will create a backup. So I'm going to, I think I am going to put that in that picture folder. I'm going to go to, under my ID number is my picture folder. So I'm just going to create my backup there. You don't have to create the folder or anything. It will create it automatically. I just got to choose the spot. So I'm going to put it there. Now it says where it's going. And now I can hit backup. So it does take a little bit of time. If you're in a hurry, this will drive you nuts. But I want to show you what it does because it's important if your catalog doesn't exist at some point or something crashes or is corrupt. I've had a few, I found this out. I've had several people over the last 2 semesters where if they pull out their hard drive without ejecting it first, it corrupts their Lightroom catalog. If you quit Lightroom if you force quit it while it's in the middle of importing or something like that, it will probably corrupt your catalog. It's happened to a few people, not everybody. It's pretty inconsistent there. But little things like that, if it's in the middle of something and you don't let it finish and you quit, it could potentially corrupt your catalog. But definitely I see it more often than not. If something does go corrupt, it's from unplugging your hard drive before you eject it. So please make sure you either right click your drive and eject or drag it to the trash, which will turn into the eject icon. Then you know it's taken out safely and you're good. So let me show you what this did. I'll dig down to where it's saved. So in my picture folder, okay, so here's what it did. It created a folder with the date and time. So this is just saying that it's 2:31 on February 20th. And then there's a zip file in there. So here's what's awesome. Every time I hit backup, it creates another one of these files. Now right now, this is 100 megabytes, not bad. As you do this every day, and you get a lot of them, it will add up and take up space. So if you get if you end up with this laundry list of backups, you can start deleting the oldest ones because chances that you need them are probably slim. So if you come across at any time where your catalog, something's wrong with it, go to your most recent backup, you double click that zip file, and it gives you your catalog file. And then when you open it, it's the last state that it's saved. So in this case, I saved it 5 minutes ago. So anything that I lost in the last 5 minutes is gone, but anything prior to that is all here. Life-saving. When my hard drive crashed, my backup was the only thing that saved me from months and months of edits that I would have to redo. I had all the images and I had the backup, but it was a ton of editing that would have had to be redone. Do backups. That's the one thing you learned today. Okay. Yay! We've officially finished all of that stuff. Okay, how much time do I have? I want to pick and choose just the right thing. I'm gonna open my Lightroom catalog back up. Go in there. Is your Lightroom giving you an error? I hope not. Let's choose it. Oh, you don't have your hard drive. Okay, then just use the default. It'll use the one on the computer, but it'll allow you to play. Okay. So there's a couple of extra things that I think is going to benefit you, but you are going to be the one to decide what works for your workflow and what you need and what you don't. And a lot of that has to do with the overall view of what you're seeing in Lightroom. So for example, what's driving me crazy, and I just about said something I shouldn't have. What's driving me absolutely crazy is the word I'm going to use. Is that I'm missing some of the tools that I typically use, and when I mouse over an image or just looking at the images in general, I don't see the file name, and for me that's kind of a big thing. I need to see the file name. So I can change what I'm able to see here. Like when I mouse over it, I get the little arrows in the corner for rotating my image quickly. I get the star ratings, the color codes, I get the flags. I get these little grayed out numbers, and that has nothing to do with the file name. It's just saying here's the first one in the collection and here's the 19th one. For me, it has no purpose for me. I need file names. I need to know 9703. That's the one I need to open. So I need to change how this looks. And I can change that view by going up, and I always forget where it is because I'm going to tell you the quick key. It's edit, view, I don't know. It's Command J. There it is, view options. It's under the view menu. So up at the top, it's under the view menu, and then either that or just a Command J. And what it's going to do is pop up with these options. Now there's 2 tabs. That's the big thing. I have grid view and I have loop view. So loop view, if you remember, is that second view in the toolbar at the bottom to view just a single picture up close. Grid obviously is all of them. So I can have different settings for both. It's fantastic. When I get into the develop module, I can set different things there too. So everyone has their own settings. I'm just in the library and these are the 2 options. So I'm going to start with grid view. I'm not going to sit and go through what every single one of these is because most of the time you're just going to check and uncheck and see what disappears and what stays. But like rotation, okay, I don't need to see the little rotation corners. My camera is fine. It does a good job. There's only a few instances where I need to correct what it thinks is vertical and what's horizontal. So I don't need the rotation. It's just another button I can accidentally click and screw something up. So I'm going to take that off. I can change the tint. I don't recommend that, but is it not going to show me as I'm doing it? Come on. What's your deal? Why are you not showing me? Do what I asked you to do. Oh, because it's showing. There we go. I bet that's why. No. Oh, I don't have any colors set up. No wonder why. Okay, never mind. I'm changing the wrong thing. I'm thinking the background gray color. This is for the color coding when I, stick like a red color label on something. So I do have the option of turning that on and off, like unsaved metadata. There are these little in the right corner of all the thumbnails of your images. They're little tags. That's all they're called. They're just called little tags, and they show certain things, which to most people mean nothing because unless you're really paying attention, they're just there. You're going to ignore them, so it really doesn't matter. But all it means is this is a metadata tag. That means I have added some metadata, probably a keyword, and that's usually what it is for me. The little plus minus means I've taken it into the develop module and I've edited it. I've done something with the color or the exposure or whatever. That's all they mean. So they're just indicating something. Most people don't care. So some people will just turn them off completely. You can leave them on. You'll learn to ignore them, so it doesn't matter. However, I want my file names going crazy. So in my cell extras, I have top label, and I can choose what metadata I want to see. If I have a copyright and I want to see my copyright, I can do that. Why would I want to see that? I think that's ridiculous. Really, the only thing I need to see is the file name. So I can choose file name, and now file name, life is good. So now I see the file name. That's really the only thing I want, but obviously you can dive in here if you want to and go a little bit further. There is 2 different grid views. There's compact cells and expanded. I doubt you're going to use expanded. I don't know. They're pretty much the same thing. Here's the difference. In compact, it puts all the data kind of in one little space, star ratings, stuff like that. If I expand it, The thumbnail lives alone with just the flag, and all the other data is above or below it. That's it. I don't know. I don't know that anyone's that picky that they have to separate everything, but it does give you more options. So if you do need to see like sizes or file types, that kind of stuff, I guess that would definitely warrant. I don't, but you might need to see, like maybe you shoot RAW and JPEG at the same time. Some of you haven't even talked about RAW yet, but again, we'll do it. If you shoot RAW and JPEG at the same time, you might want to see which image is the RAW and which is the JPEG, because you don't want to edit the wrong one. So you might do expanded so that the bottom label or the, let's see, the top label is the file name, but that you can set, here we go, show header with labels, so that you can set and see extra information. Totally up to you. Loop view, you can have, the settings are just a little bit different. So I like having this turned on. By default, it's off, but I like having this turned on because sometimes I need to see whether it's the size of the image or just the file name briefly to make sure I've got the right one. I do like having that on, but what I don't like is when it stays on forever, and that sucks. So I don't know why I can't set the show frame number and video time. I want to be able to show briefly when photo changes, and it's not letting me do it. I can set two different settings to make it easier to go through, or just switch back and forth. So info 1 and info 2 is just these two things. So if some days I need it to say something else and other days I need it to say another thing, I can set them differently and then just very quickly go rather than change everything. Now, will it go away in a second? What I want it to do is disappear after a second, but it wasn't letting me choose that. Why are you not letting me choose that? I should be able to check this box so that after a couple of seconds it just disappears, because I don't want to see it all the time. Or is that only in develop module? Here, let me check something really quick. I might be thinking the develop module. Nope. I gotta find out why it's not letting me, because I don't want it on there forever. If I have a horizontal image, it drives me nuts. Oh, nice face, Aubrey. If I have a horizontal image, it cuts into the image, and if I'm doing retouching and stuff like that, I don't want it. I want it to go away. But seriously, why can I just do that? That's strange. I'm going to have to dig into that, guys. I don't know that answer. I should be able to, gosh, viewing 112, 115. Let me see if it tells me. Maybe there's something that changed with an update, and that's why I can't do it. Seriously. This is annoying. It doesn't even go through loop view. No! He only goes through the grid. Oh my gosh. He doesn't even go through that one. I'll have to pull out an old book and see. Because yeah, once I have this selected here, it should allow me to check or uncheck. Oh man. All right. Well, I guess I'll uncheck it for now. Oh, look, now it works. So I can't have it, but it was totally grayed out before. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Okay. So apparently I can't have show info overlay checked because it will stay on forever. When it's unchecked, the first time I went in, this was grayed out, so that's why I assumed I had to check it. When it's unchecked, I have the ability of hitting this checkbox down here that just says show briefly when photo changes. That's what I want. And maybe you want yours to stay on, but I don't. So when I click on a new picture, it briefly shows me the information, but then it's going to disappear after a few seconds. See? Gone. Choose this one, and then it will disappear after a few seconds. So for me, that's all I want. I just want to just verification that's the image that I selected, especially in loop view, because I can't see the file names down here. I'd have to make them pretty big and change the view down here. This is a whole nother view setting. So I like that I have the ability to see that briefly. So you just go in, it's either Command J or view options, and then you're there. But he does reference that within chapter 4. Okay, so we've got the views. We can change those. That's a little bit better now, at least for me, so I can see the file name. But we also, I want my toolbar settings. I don't want to show or hide my toolbar. I want to adjust my toolbar. Again, it's more things that I forget where they are because you set them once and then you're like, oh, crud, where did I do that? Because once you do it once, you don't need to do it again. I need to change this. No? Wow, okay. Maybe this is different now. I can change these. I can change all of this stuff. All right. Well, I will dig around. I can change some of the tools that show up down here if I want to make filtering a little bit easier, but I can't always do that. I guess I can't do that in here right now. It's gonna bother me. Flagged info. Okay, so here's something that I can do. I can change those, uncheck those. Down here, I love the filter across the top. However, I don't always like to have that open. Sometimes I'm looking down here and I'm like, man, I don't want to see the rejected images. I just want to see the ones that are good. So I just want to see my picks and the ones that are in between that don't have a flag. So I have a filter option down here at the bottom, and it's very, very much like the attribute at the top. But I can click on this, I can click over here on the right-hand side where it says filter, and it might say no filter, but I can click there and then I can choose stuff like flagged. So I can choose to add my flags as a filter, and it's just going to keep adding that stuff. I can choose to add the color to it if I wanted to. Rated, unlighted, flagged. Why? I don't want filters off. I want to have my color. It probably, oh, you know what? It'll probably do it once I actually attach one to it. So I can turn those on and off. So what I can do is I can choose, like all I did was choose the middle flag, which means unflagged, and then choose the one to the left, which is my flagged pics. And then what it does is just, it's hiding the rejected images so that I don't see the ones that I didn't want to begin with. Now I just see the ones I actually do want. So it makes it a lot easier. I love adding those across the bottom. You just go to that menu and click the one you want. But obviously going across the top too will work. That's always nice. And play around in these. I'm not going to go through every one of these, but play around in here because you can search for a very specific image if you want to. Or you can just search text and then keywords and then find images with a very specific keyword. It's awesome. You can do metadata if you want to, so you can find things with a certain camera, with, I'll turn these off here. You can find things with a certain camera, by a certain day, with a certain lens, in anything that you have selected. You can narrow it down to exactly what you're looking for. This is kind of a cool feature. But it also goes to a ridiculous level sometimes. So I'll go back to none, but then I'm going to hide those. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the other thing I want to show you has to do with customizing a little bit. It's kind of a nice to know thing, so I'm just going to briefly show you because right now it's not really going to do much for you. However, as you go along and reach a different level of professional, you probably don't want this to say Adobe Lightroom. You might want a studio logo on it instead. And you can change this upper left corner to have a custom logo, whether it's a graphic or just text with your name on it. It's called an identity plate. And to change it, you just right click it and edit. That's it. And then you can choose what you want that identity plate to be. So I'm going to click personalized because I don't want it to say Adobe. Oh, it saved my last one. And I can type text in here if I want to. I can import a graphic. I can use a graphic, and then I would drop a graphic right in there. The thing is, there's certain dimensions that has to be to fit in there. And he used to list it in the book, but he does not. I don't see it in here. Oh, that's what it is. You just can't have your graphic be any taller than 57 pixels. So if you're doing something in Photoshop with a logo, export it as a PNG file, which is the best option because you'll have your transparent background. And then it will take on the black background when you put it in. And no matter how long it is, because you have quite a bit of space up here, just make sure it's not taller than 57 pixels or it will cut it off and you just can't adjust it or see it. There's no adjusting there. But that's all you'd have to do. It's cool. Play with the font if you just want to type it in there, and then when you hit OK, it changes your identity plate. So now it's personalized. That's all. Throwing that out there for you. Okay, any other custom things I want to add in here? I really want to do the keywords, so I think I'm going to hit that up. If you want to look at anything further as far as customizing Lightroom to look and do what you want it to do, that's all of Chapter 4 for you. And then everything else is going to fall within Chapter 3, some of the advanced like keywording and how to work with the keywords and stuff like that. And that's really what I'm going to go through now. I didn't hit on one thing for a collection. It's called a target collection, but that I don't think we need to worry about yet. I think that's just too much. So where it fits in, if it fits in, we'll talk about it. But know that he does, if you're interested in what a target collection would do, as just one other option, he talks about it on page 97. So let's talk keywords. Okay, I asked that with the assignment that was supposed to be last week, that we obviously didn't get all the way through, I said only do step 1. I really do want for you guys to do the rest of it for next week, but I'm hoping that as we talk about it, you can just start doing your assignment and get it all in there, and then you have even less to do. So if you did come up with like a little brainstorm as far as your keywords and what you might keyword your images with or to what level you might go in. This one went a little over the top, but you never know when you're going to need it. So you might as well think of everything. Now we can work on putting those in. And really all it is, it's really not a hard thing to do. We just have to get them in there. And then we can create some customization from that too. So we're going to work on both of those pieces. So in the library module, I'm in grid view. On the right-hand side, I have keywording, and then I have keyword suggestions, keyword set, keyword list. Oh, there's a lot. It's all the same thing. Just know that. It's all the same thing. It's all it is which one works for you. And that's it. And honestly, anytime you put a keyword in to your catalog, it saves it for future use. So once you put it on one image, you don't even have to add it into your catalog. It's there. However, you can pre-populate it. And for some people, they much prefer putting in all the keywords that they would use so that they can do things like keyword sets and things like that, and then choose the top 9 keywords that they think are the best or that they use the most and then it's just click, 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 add it to a picture rather than type it out. It's the main difference. Honestly, typing's not that bad, but I'm gonna show you so you can figure out which works for you. So, okay, keyword tag, or the keyword tags under the keywording, the first thing that pops up. This is where you can just type a keyword. I need a different collection so I don't screw something up here. Did I put, let me check this though. Senior, okay, there we go. I did that. I was kind of hoping I didn't. Please give me something I forgot. Okay, we'll just take these. All right, so I have a series of images, and I'm gonna go down here. I have a series of images from a trip, and I want to just make it easier to organize because maybe later on I'm gonna do something with these, and I might say, okay, I'm gonna do a collage. Actually, I'm doing this right now. So we just repainted the bathroom. I'm gonna put a collage of some pictures on the bathroom wall, all in black and white. So what I need to do is find 4 pictures that are going to fit up there. I know I want one that involves the Golden Gate Bridge. I know I want one that's some textural type thing from Alcatraz. So there's several set things in my head. I want, redwood trees. There we go. Couldn't think of the word. I want the redwood trees. So I know I want some of that stuff. So if I can keyword in a collection where I have over 600 pictures, and maybe we went to things on 2 different days and saw things twice, you know, all that kind of stuff. If I can keyword, I can then filter faster, search using that text faster. I can do all of that stuff. It allows me to do more with my pictures. Smart collections, the works. So to do that, all I would have to do is pick a set, pick an image, whatever image it is, and then I just start typing in here. Like I mentioned last week, it is simply separating with a comma is what will make a new keyword. So if I have San Francisco as 2 words, the comma is what will separate the new keyword, not the space. So I could select multiple images if I wanted to. Maybe I want all the seal images from the pier. Let's just select a handful there. There we go. And I can just type in sea lions, not seals. I can just type in sea lion. And then it adds it to all of those pictures. It's been added on. Now when I click on each picture individually, sea lion, sea lion, sea lion. I don't know why that one deselected itself. But what's cool is now that I've typed it in once, anytime I type in S, it pops up all of my S keywords that I've used before. So sea lions first, I just hit return and it's in there. That's why I say it's really easy to do it just like that, because you don't really have to pre-populate. But like I said, you might want to go further. So let me show you what this does. Once I have used a certain keyword, Lightroom is smart and has figured out either keywords that I use a lot or images that are similar to that one that I might want to use the same keyword for. So for example, in this collection, I've used the Golden Gate Bridge and Alcatraz. So it recognizes it's in that collection and it's popping up those keywords saying, well, maybe you want to add that in there. Maybe the bridge is in that picture, so you should add it. So like this one, I don't have, come on, there we go. So I have these keyworded, but I didn't put the bridge in there, and maybe that's a landscape I'm gonna want. So I can just click Golden Gate Bridge, and now I don't have to type a darn thing. It just adds it in there. I love that. So I can do, is that one? I'm zoomed in here. Okay. So I can just click Golden Gate, and there it goes. So I love those keyword suggestions for the sheer fact that I can just click and they add. Everything's there. Now the keyword set's kind of a cool thing too. There's some pre-built ones in here, but let me just show you what it does. You're not necessarily going to have to do this, but what you can do is create your own where you type in 9 keywords that you use often. Maybe it's specific to one type of photography. So maybe I have 9 different keywords I use for travel. and 9 for portraits, and 9 for weddings that I use a lot. I can create a different set for every single one of those. Now, they do have a default wedding one in here. Those are not ones I've created. That's just in there. But maybe I have a new one I want to use. I can definitely do that. And I just type in the names, and then I go under this drop down, save. Save current settings as new preset. That's it. And then give it a title, and then it will pop up in this menu. I'm not necessarily going to do that right now. I just wanted you to know it was there. Then I can come in and say, hey, let's do the wedding, and then just the 9 wedding ones pop up. And it's just like the suggestions. Then it's just click, 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 add it to the pictures. Keyword list is where it gets kind of interesting. And this is the one I want to kind of show you a little bit. The keyword list, this is where you would pre-populate. It's kind of cool. It works as a filter, and it works as a way to easily just click, click, click and add keywords, but also allows you just to add them all in continuously. So, for example, I can just click the plus sign, add a keyword. The cool thing is you can add synonyms. So if there are similar words or maybe similar spellings, it will bring up that keyword instead. You can tag it as a person, which is kind of cool too, so that it will note and come up with the faces and stuff like that. When you tag a person, it will start to recognize the person's face and keyword them as with their name. So you can type in whatever keyword you want. I don't know if I don't want to do one twice. The only thing it does is it will add one in 2 times, and that's kind of annoying. Okay, so I've got yearbook. Why does yearbook fall under wedding? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. Did I put rings in here? Yeah. I'm sure it is. You can search. No. How's that not in there? How's that not in there by default? All right, so let's do that. Okay, plus rings. I'm going to add that one in there. I'm not going to add it to the photo I've selected. I just want it in there. Now I got to figure out where it went. Did it go down in here? Yes. So then it went inside my wedding thing right here. Now, what I have, this is where it gets a little confusing, and I don't want you to focus on this or necessarily worry too much about it. It's more so just pre-populating your stuff. But what you can do, I don't know if you can see this at all, but next to this wedding one, you can see it has a little disclosure triangle, and then it has a little dot next to it. You can make a keyword, essentially a folder that houses the other keywords that are related. So I can create I'm going to create a new keyword. I'm going to call it travel. Wait, I do have travel. I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to take this travel keyword and I'm going to right click it, and I can either create a keyword inside of travel, which is going to make it a folder, or I can use this option that says put new keywords inside this keyword, which I know sounds really, really dumb, but it's basically going to create a folder. So that little dot moves up to travel. And now every time I create a new keyword, it's going to go there. So it's just going to default to go inside there. But my sea lion defaulted into oh goodness. My sea lion went in there. I want to put it inside travel. So now I can just drag around and organize my keywords. San Francisco would fall under travel. What else did I put in here? Let's see. Yearbook should not. Yearbook needs to come out. It should not be part of wedding. I'm just going to put it. I'm going to wait till there's a little line in between, not where it's highlighted in blue. Because when it's a line in between, it's going to drop it in between there. When it's highlighted in blue, it makes it a folder. So I don't want that. Seriously, where did it go? Oh, there it is. Everything's alphabetical. It's kind of weird. So now I can just go through and fix it and organize. And this little dot just, again, means anytime I add a new keyword, it's going to put it in there. So I only use that when I am adding a bunch of keywords at one time. And then I don't really worry about it. Alcatraz. So yeah, that's all you have to do for it. So creating a keyword list is not hard. And this is part of what you're going to do within your assignment. You're going to use these keywords. You're going to take these keywords and then I'm going to have you add them into Lightroom. And then you're going to take a screenshot once you've added them all in there. And your level of organization is going to depend on what you do and how much you want to organize it. Because in all honesty, the organization in the keyword list is only if you're using it. Each keyword still operates independently. It's not to say when I type wedding, it's going to put all of those keywords on that image. It's just for your own visual sanity. That's the only purpose. Yeah. Yep, the screenshot will go on the server. So this one, I believe this one is just... Yep, this one is just screenshots. You don't need to submit anything for this assignment but screenshots, which is kind of cool. So we'll all forget how to export catalogs the next time because we're just doing screenshots for a week now. So that's what you're going to do with your keywords. So if you've created that list already and you have that done, I only did that so that you were a step ahead with this one. You're going to get them all into Lightroom and then take a screenshot of them put into Lightroom. So you'll submit that one. Then what I want you to do is practice more with some of the things that we've been talking about. So you're going to use the keywords, attach them to a couple of photos. So for example, if I put in keywords for wedding and I had wedding photos, I could attach reception and dance to a handful of images. And then I'm going to create a smart collection that has certain criteria. So you could use the images you've already imported. You don't have to import new images unless you really, really want to. You're going to create a collection that says, a smart collection that uses certain keywords. So you're going to find the one that, change rating to say keyword, and then type in the keyword that you want it to pull. That's the big thing. You have to spell it correctly or it won't work. So make sure you match the spelling of what you put it in as. Then you're going to add images that are just the certain keywords that are the ones that you picked. So honestly, you can pick whatever organization process you want. If you're just going to use the images you imported, take your picks, maybe like 2 of your picks, and add keywords to those 2 images so that you can say, use that keyword and the images that are flagged as a pick and put those into a smart collection. It's just those 2 pieces, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Hopefully. So I could say, let's see, Pier 39. Okay. So I could say create a smart collection. Well, I did this already. Create a smart collection with now I did a flag, so I did a picked flag. So all my picks that contain the keyword Alcatraz. And I titled it, and then now it created a smart collection. So it has to meet those 2 things in order to be put into that collection. So that's what you're doing for that portion of it. Then all I want you to do is take a screenshot of that smart collection showing the setup. So not this. Don't get that confused. Not the window once you're done. This pop-up window right here for your smart collection. That's just this dialog box is all I need a picture of. And if you want a hint to make that easier, because this happens all the time. This happened to one person earlier this week, and then last week it happened too. If you've noticed, when you do the Command-Shift-4 on the Mac to take a screenshot, you have to draw the box around what you want to take a picture of. And if you're taking a picture of your whole window, you might run out of desk space. Some people ran out of desk space. And then whenever you let go, it takes the picture. I'm going to show you a little trick. If you do Command-Shift-4, and then you get those crosshairs, if you hit the space bar, and Rich, if you're watching this, this is what I was trying to tell you, with multiple windows open, when you whatever you mouse over, it'll mouse over many pop-up windows, and whatever pop-up window you mouse over, it'll just take a picture of that whole window for you, so you don't have to draw the box.
What'd you press?
After I press Command-Shift-4, I hit the space bar. And then it lets me choose my pop-up window. So this is cool. Like, I'll click this background, the Lightroom in the background, even though that's not what I want a picture of. I'll do both of them so you can see. Cancel this, go in here, and they'll show up on your desktop. But what's cool is, so I took a picture of the Lightroom one in the background. It doesn't show that pop-up window over the top. It only shows that window. That's kind of fun. I'm geeky, so it might only be fun to me, but that sure makes life easier. So yes, so Command-Shift-4, spacebar, and then it does just that one. And then it did the same thing with this one, so I didn't have to draw a box. Time saver. It's kind of fun. If you do Command-Shift-3, it just takes a picture of your whole screen without letting you single out a portion of it. So you could do that too. That's fine. If you just want to choose a small piece of it, it's easier just to do Command-Shift-4. So you'll do that. Now, the only thing I need you to do, because there's a couple of windows that are similar in how they look, is I'm having you rename your screenshots. So please pay attention to that. Just read through everything. So it'll be in bold where you need to take a screenshot, and then I'll tell you what to label it. So once you get your keywords in, just rename that screenshot if this is the one. Just click on the file name and then just rename it to whatever it is. So if that's keyword, just do that. And then the Smart Collection, you'll call Smart Collection. Practice this. I don't think this is that hard, doing that identity plate. This is that top left corner that I just walked through, creating that and just changing it to something different. I don't care if it's a graphic or text, whatever you want, it's fine. But just to play around with it, make it a little more customizable. Just create that and then just take a screenshot of it. You're going to call it logo. Might not be a logo, but just take the screenshot of that and you'll submit that one. Then you can play with those text overlays. You might have done it already as we were playing around with it, so then you don't have to do it later. But you know how I just changed mine to show the file names on it? When you're in there, whatever you change it to, just take a screenshot. I'm letting you choose what you want to put in there because I want this to work for you. I don't want to have you create something that's completely useless to your workflow. So just change it till it works for you and then just take a screenshot of it. And this one's just the loop view. So you're just going to take a screenshot of the loop view. I don't need both, but you can if you want to. Okay, here's the last piece. And this is the one that I want to show you how to do because we haven't walked through that yet. So this last piece is we're going to create a lot of presets throughout the semester because anything you can do to make your life a one-click and done option, the happier you are going to be and the quicker you're going to get done with things. So I don't know that people would complain about getting things done faster. You can create a custom metadata template. And while we didn't necessarily talk about the metadata, really the purpose of this is to start looking at how you can create presets. This also will come in handy when you are importing some stuff into Lightroom so that you don't have to type it in every time. Like if you do a copyright and keywords and stuff like that, we can create a metadata template that then in the import window becomes a one-click option. So in here, in this metadata template, I need a page number for you guys too, because you're going to want this later on. He does it, there's the copyright and adding that. Where did he do the template? Crud. Okay, getting the file thing for you. This is a new book. My old book has all the page marks, and I don't have them in the new book yet. So I feel like I don't know where anything is because I'm used to it all being in there. 90. Page 90, that'll be your magical page. It will walk you through creating this template. So you can do this from the import window. It's probably the easiest spot to do it, but you can do it from a couple different places, just so you know. So there is a metadata template option here. You have presets right here under metadata on the right-hand side. This is where we can create them if we're not in the import window. However, if you're in the import window, I don't know if I have, I'll just do it this way. Oops. Let me just hop in the import window right here so I can show you. Right here in the import window, apply during import, if you remember that option, there's metadata, and that's what we're creating. So you can create these on the fly anywhere. New is the one that I'm going to do. I'm going to do it outside of here because I have nothing to import, so it'll make it completely useless at this point. So I'm just going to do it from here. But I can go in here and I can edit, and I can create my own from scratch. This will be the same window when you do it from the import menu. It doesn't matter. They're identical. This list is crazy. I'm going to tell you that now. It's ridiculously long. You are not going to use all the data that's in here. Some of it has to do strictly with video and audio. So I'm just going to collapse the ones that I know for sure I'm not going to use. I think the ones you're going to use the most are going to fall under... I went under on the metadata panel on the right hand side. It says preset, and then drop down there and edit. So you should see, let's see, are you in the import or are you in the, oh no, let's see, metadata. Okay, yep, open that up. Oh, you don't have any images, that's why. Yeah, we have to have images in, but then preset's gonna show right here, and we can do edit. But if you go hit import once. I'll just do it from here. I just want to actually import in here. So if you do this apply during import, open that up, and then go into metadata, and edit presets. There we go. So the ones I think that you are going to use is gonna fall more under the IPTC copyright. Again, I'm just going to close some of these, and the creator. It all depends on the amount of information that you're putting in there. A lot of this stuff is very specific to like one image rather than data that you're going to put in. So you can do it two ways. Metadata presets is simply for the view of what you see over here, or the information of what's imported onto or added to a photo. So you can do it two different ways. But whatever you type in these fields will automatically be applied to every image when you do it through the import window. So all you would have to do is just kind of type or check the boxes on the right-hand side that you want to use. And then once you do all of that, and again, you're just going to put in, let me go back here for a second. You're going to put in this information. So your copyright is going to fall under the IPTC copyright. If you need to do this copyright symbol, if you want to do that copyright symbol, I'm going to tell you this. On a Mac, you hold down Option G. G for Gus. And that will give you the copyright symbol. On a PC, it's weird. You have to hold down the Alt key and then very quickly type 0169. Don't know. Don't get it. So, yep, just hold the Alt key, and then if it's awesome if you have a numeric keypad, 0169, and then let go, and it will create the copyright symbol. I wish I knew why that, but Option G is a little easier. So you will fill in the copyright. You will also put in this creator information. You can put in as much as you want if you want to put more, but at least put in the creator, which would be your name, the city, the state, obviously the postal, your zip code in there, and then an email. It can be student, personal, business, whatever. At least put those in there. You don't have to put address and stuff like that. Maybe on your own personal stuff, you might put your address on. It's just information that gets put into the image so that if somebody else gets a hold of it, that information is there. So whatever you think you want to put in there is fine. But you'll see you have spaces for address and all that. So that falls under the creator. There's all the options. And then all I want you to do is save it. Those are the only two things. If you want to put more in there, please go ahead, but at least do that at minimum. Do the copyright and do that basic creator information in there. Then what you're going to do is under the drop-down menu at the top, it says Save Current Settings as New Preset. So whatever your current settings are, it will put in there. And I'm just going to call it Jessica Copyright. And now it's set to go. That's it. And then it's done. You just hit the done button. And now it shows up as an option. But it's mostly coming into play in that import menu, so that it will automatically attach all of that information, so I don't have to type it multiple times. It's going to put that on any photo that I import. Yay, saving time. I highly recommend coming up with your own preset for that as you import your pictures. So he'll walk you through that process on page 90 and 91 in your book if you need that help. But that's how you get to it from those two different spots, because he only does it through the import window. You get to it from here if you're not in there. We've caught up on our organization. Yay, us. We're done. We're so done. If you need help on any of it, we've obviously got flex lab times. We've got Monday morning, which I know conflicts with some of you. And we've got Thursday, 12:30 to 1:30. But yeah, just let me know if you have questions on anything. And then we're going to start working on the develop module and editing and playing with pictures next week. Yay.